All right. Program. Joe Stabb will introduce our program for the day.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm excited to share some good music for you today from the Appalachian Equality Chorus. They're also going to share a little bit about their history, their name change, and I will welcome the gentleman up to come and sing.
Coming to the edge, running on the water. 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 Coming to the edge, running to the edge,
Thank you, everyone. As Joe said, we're the Appalachian Equality Chorus. We're going to sing just a couple songs and then talk to you about our organization as well. That first one, if you're a 1980s fan, that was Let the River Run by Carly Simon. This next one is a love ballad that many people are going to be familiar with. This is called A Love That Will Never Grow Old.
Sweet, sweet dreams come true. Just stay now in my arms. Sing this song. Celebrate, celebrate. That's what we say.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for inviting us here today. As Joe said, my name is Alan Stevens, and my full-time job, regular job, is I'm a professor at East Tennessee State University. So I actually live in Johnson City, and so I like to joke that I keep the economy going with the gas bill that I provide going back and forth. But I've actually been in this role since 2015. So there's been a lot of road miles, but I've really enjoyed going back and forth and getting to know the entire region in terms of the community between the Tri-Cities, Knoxville, and we've had a lot of excursions down into Chattanooga as well. So I feel like I've really gotten to know East Tennessee through the Appalachian Equality Chorus. Some of you in this room I'm familiar with, and some of you know this organization quite well, and others of you have probably never heard of us before. So KGMC, the Knoxville Givens Chorus, was founded in 2012, and that was our original name. It was a small group of 13 people. Blue Copus is one of our singers here today. The chorus was really his brainchild, and he reached out to a local musician named Christopher Hamlin, who no longer lives here. And Blue and Chris put this group together in the tradition of Givens choruses, and some of you may be familiar with that, but they're kind of scrambled or sorted all over the nation, usually in larger metropolitan areas than little old Knoxville, Tennessee. So there was this group of people, and they formed and they performed for the first time in the fall of 2012, and there was a pretty large positive response quite quickly. By the following year in 2013, they had applied and received their 501c3 status as a nonprofit organization, and they joined the national parent organization called Gala Choruses, which is an organization which kind of oversees all of the LGBTQ choruses in the nation. Over the course of the next few years, they really found a home in the Knoxville community, both the advocacy community and the arts community. And the arts community in Knoxville has been wonderful at just embracing the mission of the chorus and what we do. We've kind of landed at a home at the Bijou Theater, and we do a concert series there each year with 2 annual large shows, a holiday concert and a summer show, and many small community performances and events throughout the year like this. The actual chorus, the full chorus, rotates between 70 to 80 members, and we have really increased our presence and numbers. The arts organizations in Knoxville, as I said, have just been wonderful to work with. We've collaborated with many, and we now have a home in the Arts Emporium building in downtown Knoxville. So you can find us in our office there. We made it to 2020, and we were growing and surviving, and then we all don't need to talk about 2020 one more time. But the pandemic was interesting for us because an arts organization that was based in performance, as many of you may have experienced with performance, when you weren't able to stand on stage and sing, it really made you reevaluate what you were doing. So it was both good and bad. It was, of course, very difficult for us to continue. Our budget model was destroyed based on concert income, and we had to really find a new way to do that. And we created recordings, we created space for people to talk online, and it also gave us as an organization the opportunity to really dive into why are we doing this and what do we want to do. And we went back to our mission statement and our vision statement. And our vision statement is we envision a world free of discrimination in which all persons are empowered to live authentic lives, true to their identities without fear. And as we began to explore that, we looked at the organization in terms of what it was in the larger community, in the region, in the state, and how it fit into the big picture.
Now, what you may not know is you may think this organization is one of many in Tennessee, and it's not. There's actually only one LGBTQ chorus in Tennessee, one other, and that's a mixed chorus in Nashville called Voices in Harmony. And they were instrumental in getting us started, but we stand alone as the only chorus in East Tennessee, in the Eastern time zone, and certainly only one of two in the state. We had people coming to us from Chattanooga, driving to us from Chattanooga for rehearsals. We had people driving down from Johnson City that, not just me. We had people coming in from all over that wanted to be a part of this mission statement to help increase authenticity and opening the doors to people in our region. So as we came out of the pandemic, we went back to live performance. We were very successful. We had our largest show ever in the fall of 2021, the holiday concert. It was so great to see many people back. And then we opened up the doors to a second rehearsal group in Tri-Cities. So as we began to expand, we're adding rehearsal groups still located, all coming together in Knoxville. In 2022, we began to really evaluate whether our name reflected who we were. And that was a difficult conversation, especially for many of us who've been in this since the beginning or for a long period of time. And we began to realize that it was larger than just Knoxville. Our home is and all will be Knoxville, but we were beginning to serve more than just the Knoxville area. So we decided to ask ourselves, how can we be more inclusive in our name of who we serve? And we began to realize that there's also perhaps some negative stereotypes and perception across the world that we saw in other Gaelic courses about the word Appalachian, that we were not inclusive, that we were not welcoming, and that we were not perhaps the most diverse group of people. When I look around this room, I realize that's not true, and I think many of you know that too. So instead of shy away from the word Appalachian, one of our mission statements became that we were going to embrace Appalachian to show that Appalachian was indeed a place for inclusiveness, diversity, and welcoming. And we began to look at names and the way that our mission and the word that stands out in our mission is equality and sharing that vision of everybody being equal. And we landed on the Appalachian Equality Chorus, and we announced that in December of 2022 as our new name change and our new mission. And when Joe asked me to speak today, I looked up the mission of the Rotary, and I found that yours is to provide a service to other people to promote integrity and advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace throughout our fellowship of business, professional, and community leaders. And I thought that could be our mission if you just replaced fellowship of the arts, of business. We're really about the same thing, bringing people together and bringing people together for positive outcomes. So many of you may be asking, well, there's different ways to get about equality. There's different ways to get about some of these things. Why do you need a chorus that sings? It's a good question. I think music and the arts in general is an interesting way to bring people together. What we found with the chorus is it's a place of belonging for the singers. The few singers that you see here today were able to take off work or to finagle their schedule to sing for you. And they do this willingly. And whenever we have these types of events, it's always fun to see how many people want to volunteer and to be here. But what we've really found in the larger context is that everybody in this room was probably humming along to Celebrate. You know that song. And the arts can be a great connector. Two people can be wildly opposed on a topic, and you can start playing Celebrate and they'll all start humming. It can be a way to bring people together, some sort of point in which they agree. It's kind of like a zipper. If you try to shove a zipper together without any point of connection, it doesn't work. But if you bring them together at the start and you bring them at some point where they connect, you can zip them up a little bit. It may not go the full way, but you're going to get some sort of connection, and you can at least start that conversation. So what we found in the arts is it's a good way to start the conversation, even with people who we disagree with. And so I think that's one of our biggest challenges as we go forward, especially in the current environment in which we live, is we may see things in different ways, but how can we find common ground? How can we find places we believe that are equal, and how can we work together? So I want to thank Joe again for asking us to be here today. The mission of the Rotary is such a wonderful mission. It aligns with our mission. I really appreciate your support, and I really appreciate your invitation. And we've got one more song for you today called Why We Sing, which exemplifies our mission. Thanks again.
When we share a soul, it seems all. The soul. This is love. I can speak to.
Alan, do you want to take any questions?
Sure.
Any questions, or did you want to introduce everybody, or?
There's a lot of them.
Any particular?
Is there a tryout for the chorus?
There is, so we hold auditions twice a year. And it's, we typically do that in February and August, so right before those December and June concerts.
Helen, can you talk about the SA chorus? that
Sure.
Should be coming?
Yeah, I didn't speak about that directly just because we're not sure about the details yet, but part of our expansion, part of our mission to be more inclusive of all people is clearly this is all tenors and basses. So we are in the process of adding a soprano alto chorus so that anybody who wants to sing can sing.
welcoming women as well. So that should be in place by next August. So we'll have 2 different choruses as the organization continues to grow and expand.
You see those two forces collaborating, doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited about that. So, I think for at least the first couple of years, we're not gonna have 2 separate concerts. It would be, they'll each sing a little bit and then come together at the end to sing together.
Do you have any, staff members?
We do. None of them were here today, unfortunately, but yes. We're actually a relatively diverse organization in terms of membership.
Do you get any kind of pushback from crowds or people in the crowd or anything like that? Or
Not usually the crowd. You have to buy a ticket to attend, so no one wants to pay money to complain. But there's certainly been some off-site, or we've had a little bit of protest. By and large, though, the Knoxville community has been wonderful. It's been very minimal, very minimal. Yeah.
Have you done any CDs?
We haven't, we've talked about it. There's a lot of licensing that goes along with that, which gets pretty prohibitive in cost relatively soon. We do have a YouTube channel, which we're able to post most of our shows live. So that's been functioning as our recordings for now.
How long do people typically stay as members of the chorus? If anybody here wants to, is it kind of a thing I do as a hobby, as a lifetime?
Yes, Blue, as I mentioned, was the chorus founder, so he's been in it for 11 years. Blue just doesn't like to talk. But we have, I think, 9 members that have still been in it since the very beginning. And a lot of people have been in it over the years. I think we counted once, just people that have been in it at some point or another. There's over 300 people who have been in the chorus in the past 11 years. Most of those people have stayed for a significant amount of time. But people, of course, move or something happens, but it's really a home for a lot of these people, much like this organization is for you. It's a way to connect and a way for them to feel a sense of belonging.
You were talking about you're part of a national organization. Do y'all do any performances with other
Yeah.
groups?
Yeah, the national organization is called Gaelic Choruses, and we actually come together every 4 years at a quadrennial festival. We just pick a point in the US. In 2024, we'll all be in Minneapolis. We all perform together, perform for each other, and we have done a couple things with Nashville and Harmony before. We've done a little bit with the Charlotte groups as well. So we try to cross relate as much as we can just to get to know each other and work together.
That actually brings up, you were talking about how you're one of those 2 in Tennessee, but are there others in the surrounding area? Is there Asheville? Is there Atlanta?
Yes, yes, and yes. Asheville has a great small chorus. They've been there longer than us. Atlanta has a huge network. They actually, our model that we're moving to is modeled off of them, where they have an umbrella 501c3 with multiple choruses. They have a tenor bass chorus, a soprano alto chorus. That's what we're moving towards here. And then Charlotte has 3 different choruses. So they have quite a big community there. But as far as Tennessee goes, it's just us in Nashville, but there's a lot in the region.
Birmingham started the same time we did too,
Yeah.
so they're our peers.
As well. Birmingham has had more issues with pushback, as you may imagine, but they've hung in there very well. Great. Thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you. Paul Pedro, we got the music in for you this year, all right? I know you want music back. So it is a tradition to donate a book to a local elementary school. We do have it, they've signed it. The book's going to East Knox County Elementary School on behalf of the speaker. So we will donate that. Thank you visitors and guests for attending. We appreciate you coming and please come back again. Ask us any questions you like.